Alright, if you're trying to get to $1,000 a day or more, scaling horizontally with your Facebook ads is by far the fastest and most powerful way to do that. Today I'm going to be revealing my favorite countries to scale to along with other horizontal scaling strategies. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? I'm Braden Wuerch. If this is your first time to my channel, make sure to hit subscribe. I continue to over-deliver insane value to you guys every day to grow you personally and financially as well. Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about scaling horizontally with Facebook ads. This is by far one of the big tenets of my Facebook ad strategy and is a huge reason why I've been able to produce multiple six-figure stores and a store that's done over $500,000 in the last 8 months. It's because I've scaled horizontally and I use pretty unique strategies to go ahead and do that. So obviously scaling vertically is very important. It's what you hear all the time on YouTube is about how to boost the budget, how to get winning ad sets and then go ahead and raise the budget. You know, the schedule you should have when testing, how often you should raise the budget, how you should raise the budget. That's talked about quite often, but mass horizontal scaling is not talked about very often. And it's very, very, very important. So today I'm going to be revealing my favorite countries to test to because it's not just the big five. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I all the time will go ahead and test outside of the big five. And today I'm going to be revealing my favorite countries right now because it does depend on the time, the season, product niche. It depends on where you test. So I'm going to be revealing my favorite countries, but first, let's go ahead and talk about how to go ahead and scale horizontally without going to other countries. So the best way to do this is using lookalike audiences. So my favorite way to do it is using lookalike audiences, testing them with a 1 to 10% method. Once you've got that, then you can go ahead and test, 1%, 1 to 2%, all the different percentages. And after you've gone ahead and tested 1 to 10% for your winning countries, then go ahead, test, view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and purchases for the lookalike audiences. Once you go ahead and do this, and you've gone ahead and expanded to not just the 1 to 10% in say one country, now you've gone ahead and done 1 to 10% in several countries. You've done several view contents, add to carts, initiate checkouts, 1 to 10%, and then you go ahead and you do several percentage breakdowns, the winning percentage breakdowns, for those specific lookalike audiences. So for one product, just off of lookalike audiences alone, you can have 30 plus ad sets running that you'll then be boosting up vertically. So this is a cool way that even with just one country, you can scale horizontally very quick. But before you even get to lookalike audiences, if you're just starting out, you're trying to find a decent product, you want to go ahead and scale horizontally off the bat by testing other countries. So let's go ahead and jump onto the computer and I'm going to show you the exact countries that I'm using right now to go ahead and test products and immediately scale horizontally. Alright guys, so before I go ahead and reveal the exact countries that I'm using right now, first let me go ahead and say that this one depends on your product and niche. Some products and niches just don't do well in some countries, but I've got multiple stores in multiple different niches, and so I'm going to be giving you my best countries right now and the countries that work pretty much for every niche. And so another thing that you need to keep in mind is that this list changes based on the season. Obviously it's summertime for us when it's wintertime for other countries. So if you've got a seasonal product or product that's going to sell better during warm weather or cold weather, that can have a big part of it too. But for the most part, these are by far my favorite countries. I've been using these countries for over a year now to always test. The big five is not bad, but you don't want to constrain yourself to that. If you constrain yourself to the big five, you are losing out on a ton of potential for testing and for scaling to huge, huge numbers. The cool thing about dropshipping is that we've got the 7 billion people worldwide at our disposal rather than just, the 300 million in the United States or the 320 million active Amazon users. We've got people all over the world, even the countries that you think might not do well, like India. India has a lot of traffic with not great conversions for some products. Even India sells really well. So if you find a decent product or a winning product, you want to go global with this. But this is my list of countries that I immediately test and I immediately scale to. I then immediately use lookalike audiences once I've got the data for it for these countries. And so if you just use these countries, and you go ahead and you get the data for the lookalike audiences, and then you go ahead and make lookalike audiences for just these countries. So you've got the regular automatic bids, plus you've got the lookalike audiences. You will go ahead and for one product, this is how you can do 3 to 5, even more thousand per day off of one product. Is because you scaled so much horizontally and then you're scaling vertically. That's the whole power of Facebook ads, guys. If you go ahead and figure out how to scale horizontally pretty massively, you will hit $1,000 a day very quickly once you find a winning product if you use this strategy and you do it right. All right, so number one should come to no surprise. This is actually in the Big Five, and this is the big tenet of the Big Five, is the United States. So the United States almost always, pretty consistently, if you've got a decent or winning product, you want to test in the United States. Sometimes the United States doesn't do that well if you test it, but for the most part, for most products, the United States does very well. So this should come to no surprise. Number two is also in the Big Five, and that's the UK. UK is arguably my favorite country to test in, and my favorite country to scale very rapidly horizontally using lookalike audiences and several different types of automatic ad placements is the United Kingdom. I mean, the United Kingdom is great, and it's great for so many different niches. You could be in apparel, you could be in gadgets. There's so many different niches that United Kingdom works great, and a lot of times shipping is pretty fast to the United Kingdom. And so customer service tends to be a lot easier. Overall, I would say the United Kingdom is probably my favorite country to sell to. Number three is actually optional. And I only say it's optional right now. Typically, I would love Australia. And a few months ago, Australia was my third favorite for testing. And this is also in the Big Five. But right now, Australia hasn't been performing as great, but the reason I put it as optional is for some products and some niches, it still is performing very well. So, if you've had a lot of luck with Australia in the past, I would still test it. But if you're testing a brand new product right now, you're still trying to find a decent or winning niche, so you don't blow your budget, and I want you to go ahead and test as many good countries as possible. Right now, maybe leave Australia out. Like I said, for some products, some niches, Australia still is working great, but be a little bit weary of it compared to the other countries on this list. Number four is Spain. So Spain is one that is not a year-round country that I test, but right now, Spain is doing very, very well. The cost of advertising in Spain is pretty low compared to all the other countries. And it's the same with the next country I'm going to show you. So, my top three right now would be USA, UK, and Spain, with number five being France. So France is very similar to Spain. And a lot of times if you're testing these countries off the bat, I would group Spain and France together. A lot of times if I'm testing a brand new product I've never tested before, or even a brand new niche, rather than going ahead and spending $10 a day with Spain and then $10 a day with France, well, $10 a day with the other countries as well, I would actually go ahead and group Spain and France together. They're very close in proximity. They're relatively close in demographic. And right now, they're very close in performance. The cost of advertising in both of these countries is great right now. So definitely go ahead and test these countries. These are countries that not many people recommend you should test. Right now, it's great. Jump on it. So number six, this is an all-time favorite of mine, Germany. Germany has always consistently year-round been one of my best countries for multiple different niches, completely different niches. So definitely go ahead and test Germany. Germany, there's a lot of English speakers. Most of them have English as a second language. The shipping is pretty easy to Germany. And many times, the products that work well in the United States, they're going to work well in the UK, and they're going to work well in Germany, as well as number seven, Netherlands. So Netherlands also, they speak very good English, and they're pretty high spenders. So, Netherlands and Germany are ones that no matter what, year round, I am testing these countries, and I'm going horizontal big time with these countries. I love Germany. I love Netherlands. And then a bonus one, and this is also an optional just like Australia, but the reason I'm putting it as bonus is United Arab Emirates. And the reason I put this as a bonus is because for most products, it's actually going to have a pretty high cost per conversion. If you just look at the cost per conversion, it would be too high that you wouldn't want to go ahead and market there. But if you look at your return on ad spend, it typically is great because they end up buying a lot of upsells, a lot of cross sales. Their average order value is much higher than most countries. So for at least 2 to 3 days, I suggest testing the United Arab Emirates. Not every product is going to work well. Not every store is going to work well for United Arab Emirates. But for most of mine, the cost per conversion is very high, but the average order value is so high that the return on ad spend is great with United Arab Emirates. So, that's a bonus one if you want to go ahead and test it. If you've got a decent product that you've already gone through, the big five in these countries, I would definitely go ahead and test it. Like I've talked about, scaling horizontally, you want to go across the globe. If you've got a decent product that's doing very well, you're getting a great return on ad spend on most of your ad sets, keep going horizontally, keep scaling to other countries. This is how you'll have so many ad sets for one product, and that's just regular automatic bids. This is before you even have the data for lookalike audiences. This is how you can get to $1,000 a day really quickly. I talked to a couple of my students earlier today, and they're doing great numbers right now, and they're scaling very fast before they even have lookalike audience data for each individual country because they're scaling to so many different countries, and most of the countries are working well. What you do is you just keep adding countries, keep testing countries, and the ones that work, you keep them, and you start scaling vertically, start boosting the budget, and the ones that don't work, you just kill those off. Just kind of cross them off the list, but you need to keep going global. Don't be afraid of many countries in South America. Don't be afraid of many African countries work great. South Africa is close to being on this list. South Africa typically is a great country that I like to test. Most of Europe is amazing, even Russia. Obviously be careful with many Asian countries, but like I even talked about, the countries that typically give you bad traffic like India, if you've gone ahead and you've tested most of Europe, South America, all these, go and test India. Like I said, India, it has extremely low advertising costs. And so if you find a product that sells well in India, you can scale vertically so fast with that country. And I've been able to do that with a few of my products. So don't be afraid to go ahead and go global, go horizontal, and use this list right now. Like I said, this list changes, but probably for the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 months, this is going to be the list that I will use every time I test, and immediately start scaling with lookalike audiences. This is such a great list, guys, and everybody's so focused on the big five. If you go ahead and you use these strategies, you test these countries while also getting the lookalike audience data and then scaling so horizontally with those, using different percentages, different conversion events like view content or add to cart or initiate checkout. This is how you'll have so many ad sets for one product that you can scale vertically. This is how you guys can get to $1,000, $5,000 a day very quickly. And this is how I see so many of my students doing it, is because they're scaling horizontally so quickly and so successfully. Now there's other methods that go into it. This goes quite a bit more in depth. I could talk pretty much all day just about scaling horizontally, but this is definitely what I'm testing right now, where I'm testing right now, so definitely give this a shot. Alright guys, I hope you found insane value in this video. If you did, please leave me a like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave down in the comments, if you've got another country that you found is working great right now, leave that down in the comments. I would love to go ahead and see what's working for y'all. But keep grinding, y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.